past couple of rounds, I guess, has been, does anybody have anything for Dustin Brown in the expert class? And last week, a little bit of bad luck. There was a lot of people pretty pumped up that Chris Evans won that race. But is there anybody that can touch Dustin Brown here today? Dustin won his DTX race handily. I'm thinking of guys like Tyler Seguin, former winner here, or maybe, you know, talking to Chris Evans earlier on, he thought perhaps this would be one of those days where he gets a third or a fourth or whatever feels good. But does he have something in the tank for somebody like Dustin Brown?
Honestly, Todd, I don't think so. I think anybody that has anything for Dustin Brown tonight is going to be anybody's lady luck. This kid is absolutely at the top of his game. He's on fire. He's one of Canada's best ever racers. He's only 17 years old. He eats his Wheaties. This kid should be representing Canada all over the world.
Yeah, I guess it remains to be seen whether we see that happen or not. Of course, we'd like to see him going down to the other side of the bridge, I guess, to contend some of the AFT rounds. Speaking of which, next weekend is the final AFT round taking place in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and I know Trent Pickle will be there representing Canada, so he'll be in tough on a mile track against those regulars, but we'll be at home cheering for Trent, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's always great to see Canadian racers race out and really show that we can put it out there for them, but it'd be nice to send some really fast guys down there that really hits it home and bring home some big wins in the big class. So.
Yes, it would. It's been a few years. I guess the last one to win a AMA national at that time, I guess, for Canada was Dominic Gulak in 2006. Chris Evans won in 2002. And then you got to go back a few years before that when Steve Beattie won. I believe he won at I-96 Speedway. For the rest of the field when Brown gets a hole shot. He's a master of that. So everybody playing catch up right off the start. Top three right now. Brown, Evans, Ram.
At lead position, we got Chris Evans hunting him down and Luke Ram in third place. Themselves out. Caroline here. Still early yet. Guys still trying to figure out the groove. Works at this moment in time. We'll start to see them trying to move around all over the track. This is on the outside. It seems like past years the outside line is a little bit.
Ohsweken, he rides it like a cushion track, basically using that top of that banking. And he's having a pretty good run right now in third. That'll put him on the front row for the final if he can hold on to it. And he's not done really. He may be looking for more as he's trying to sneak his way past Evans.
Brown's out front. Gap has pretty well remained the same since about lap 2. I don't know if Brown is in cruise control at this point, Aaron, or just running his race. Hasn't given up yet. He's hard into turn 3. But pretty good run by Ram, and it's funny you bring up, we talk about the guys from down in that area loving the cushion. If you go out to Quebec, it's the same thing. They all love the cushion. It's the guys that grew up in this area that have raced on well in their whole lives. They're the clay fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's a product of your environment, right? So these guys, they grew up around the racetrack. It's a clay track, they got to race there every week. The guys out in Quebec love to just ride wild and fast. So they love those big, deep cushion tracks. You know, the people from the Windsor area get a chance to ride Wheatley. And Wheatley is a home club track. It's deep, it's cushioned, and that's really where they get to stand out as well.
Yeah, they do. And it's cool. Jared Phibbs in the intermediate class, another one of those riders, but usually does well on this track too. So
Tyler Seguin down on the inside pole here for this one. Currently second in points. Pouliot's going to lead him out.
Drag race into 1.
Drag race into 1. We got the number 24, Hunter.
Was going first. I don't want to sway anybody here. And Seguin kind of took the lead going into 1. Brandon Seguin with a bit of a wheelie there. How about the run by Brandon Seguin last weekend in Georgia Downs? The kid looked phenomenal. It was good to see.
There's another kid that's from Welland, Ontario, the number 19, Brandon Seguin. This is who we're talking about. Brandon had a bad crash there a few years ago, broke his bike in half at Paris, and just seemed to not have any confidence. He was on fire last week. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he definitely finished
Not only did he get second in his heat race, he was challenging for the lead, so good run on him. So we're agreeing again, and it looks like it is Brandon Seguin going to grab that lead. He heard us talking about him, Aaron.
Brandon is definitely a man on fire and one to watch out for. When this kid is on, he's definitely one heck of a racer. He's helped us out with the flat track schools in the past, and he's one of those kids, like when he's on, when he's not, he's not. And in racing, it's all mental preparation for sure.
I don't know if you caught that. Hunter Bauer coming out of turn 2 looked like a rodeo cowboy there trying to stay on the bull. Managed to keep upright. Still got that bike wiggling under protest off the exit of turn 2. So I don't know. Oh, who is that? Is that Tyler Seguin almost got tossed off that bike. So Tyler Seguin trying to chase down his older brother out front. And big moment in turn 4.
It could be that KBR Honda horsepower that's kind of making them go backwards in this situation. On these clay tracks, they're on the edge of being very slippery and hooked up at the same time. So you want to make sure that the bike has enough tractable power. And by doing that, they almost detune the motorcycles. If they have a lot of horsepower, they tend to spin the rear wheel up, and it sends them backwards almost, or makes the bike unpredictable in this situation here.
So right now, Bauer in 4th position. He's got it past Pouliot for 3rd in that front row start in the final. Brandon Seguin is checked out on the field. His brother Tyler running in 2nd. I don't think I would count Tyler out of the race when it comes time for our final later on, but Brandon is showing him the way around right now.
It's funny, these two are brothers right from the Welland, and they only live an hour from here, but they are super fast here tonight. The number 22 of Tyler Seguin, he's super fast here at Ohsweken. He's always been top 3 for the last 5 years here, and certainly one to watch out for. You'll notice his bike has got a bit of a different sound than all the other motorcycles on the track. He must have shared too many secrets to his brother. And Hunter Bauer making a move on, is that the 16 of Dave Pouliot?
Yeah, and then Bauer almost hits the eject button in between turns 1 and 2, and Pouliot makes his way back around. So we've got just over a lap to go, Aaron. First and second is settled, third place is not.
Yeah, Hunter and Pouliot fighting every inch of the mile. That's a very important position, that third place position, because that'll set you on the front row for the final or the second row, which is very important when it comes to your starting position for the main event.
So Brandon,
and it looks like Hunter Bauer edges out Dave Pouliot for that third place position. They'll be very proud of that one for him and his race team. Give him a good chance to get into the top part of the main event.
So Brandon Seguin riding that momentum, I think, from last week. And we talk about Tyler Seguin and how he's done here in the past few years. Tyler Seguin was probably one of the first riders I can remember here, Aaron, going way up to the top of the track and then making a real hard left and shooting right down to the bottom and riding that banking all the way down. And it almost seemed to add a couple of horsepower down every straightaway.
Well, of course, at this track here, when you're racing cars, I mean, you notice it a little bit with the banking. It kind of soaks up the speed coming out of the corner if you remain on the top. If you shoot down, you can get a bit of a run. It's a little bit noticeable in the cars, but they have so much horsepower they can mask that or shadow that. These bikes, they only have so much horsepower, so when they use that banking to their advantage and really give themselves a run coming off that corner, it's very noticeable. So you'll see these guys kind of checking up halfway through the corner and really, cutting that corner off to get that drive coming out.
Yeah, and Seguin, I think, has set the tone for that, and there's a lot of other riders that have caught on to that now. I know there was one of our novice riders doing that earlier today, and a couple of people were kind of taken aback. They weren't sure what was going on, but I think that's a quick way around here if you can make it work, if there's nobody in the way. Vintage Open on the line, and we have two guys tied for the lead in the points here. We have Glenn Brown on the 19 and Al Perry on that number 5, so 3 rounds left, including this one, so this is an important race in the points chase.
Yeah, it's always great to see these old bikes out here. Sometimes they make more of a sound that some of the experts make with their bikes. We got a couple XS 650s out there.
Fairful doing the Superman almost off the back of that bike. Our leader, he's down. Our leader goes down off the exit of 4 after almost going off the back of the bike in turn 3. He's up and okay, that's good news. But there goes that lead, that's for sure. So that hands over that first position to the number 5 of Al Perry. And the guy tied for points with him right now is Glenn Brown, and he's back there in 3rd. So Perry's loving the way this one's working out right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, these older bikes have some older tires on them, and when the dirt gets a little bit tricky like this, they don't seem to work too well. Some of these old dried out tires seem to really slip on this slippery clay at times. These guys in the expert class and even the pro intermediate class, they're putting tire warmers and everything on the bikes to just make everything hook up.
Yeah, so Perry's your leader, but Brad Keto back there in 2nd on the 666. He's not really going away, Aaron. In fact, it looks like he's closing on our leader as he comes out of turn 2.
Yeah, Brad Keto kind of looks like he's in cruise control mode, but honestly, it's certainly the fastest way to go around here. I'm just looking at the cameras here, and looks a little bit slower than what they're actually going in person. We're here in person, and these guys are motoring around this racetrack.
So you see most of our riders using that mid to top line, I guess. Fairful is one of the guys I've seen today, our rider back and forth, the early leader. He was way down at the bottom of the track where I've seen nobody else ride. And just a lap to go now for Perry. And Perry, if things stay the same, he's all of a sudden going to find himself with a 5-point lead in the championship.
Yeah, these guys are neck and neck. They're tied. And Al Perry came up to me earlier today and says, I'm just here to collect every point I can. This is do or die from this championship with Glenn Brown. it really means a lot to these guys. So it's great to see them out there really duking it out and fighting for the championship.
So Perry takes the victory. Keto with a great ride there in second, followed by Brown. I talked to Perry at Flamborough Downs a couple of rounds ago there, just talking about his bike because it's gorgeous and I would love to have that on the street. But I was absolutely shocked. I won't say a number because maybe his wife doesn't know. But when he told me how much money he has into that bike, it really is a labor of love and a labor of a whole bunch of dollars. Yeah, sorry. That was my out loud voice, I forgot.
Yeah, we don't really speak about spending motorcycles on our wives around here, so.
So good job by Mr. Perry. And, you know, I don't know if he knows exactly where Glenn Brown finishes. All he knows is he got at least 3 more points than Brown did in that race.
Yeah, it's good for Al. He's certainly had a lot of really good rides, but at times he's had a lot of trouble with that beautiful bike phys, and it's great to see him out there performing and making it happen well.
I was talking to him just before I came up, and he stopped racing for a long time, and it was one of those where he was going to Woodstock and London to watch, and then he realized I just got to get back out there. And, you know, being a former road racer and knowing a lot of former racers, a lot of guys, when they stop racing, they will stop going to watch because they know they get that itch. And apparently Al got the itch, and it seems to be working out for him.
Racing is a vortex, Todd. It kind of just sucks you in. That's why we're here today. So, you know, we never thought of putting on big races around the country, and we just put on my wife and I started trying to promote events at the Paris Short Track, just a little tiny 8-mile track, and it kind of got bigger and bigger, and we wanted to go further and further and expand our boundaries as much as we can. So it's kind of why we're here today, and kind of getting the races on TSN and on Fans' Choice and trying to make it all happen. That's why all the races are here, which is great.
Well, I don't think anybody could possibly know how much work you and Caitlin and your dad and your mom put into something like this. It is a year-round. It's probably about 2 years worth of work in every year, I think, in reality. And yes, the series, it's pretty cool. We go to some amazing venues. We have fantastic racing. And along with that, you mentioned the Paris Short Track, which is where it all started for you as promoter, I guess. And how many guys do we have here racing today that came up basically through the roots of the Paris Short Track? It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, we certainly missed that track. Unfortunately, we put it to rest this year, but we're on the hunt. We have Ancaster Fairgrounds that we normally do some small stuff at now, but we're on the hunt for another great facility like Paris that can introduce a lot of new young kids to the sport. It definitely did wonders for this sport. So
it did, and we're going to see riders that came from the Paris Short Track all night long in every class almost. And we've got Novice DTX on the line right now.
We got the green lights here. Oh, and the people are nailing the starts, and others are just spinning like crazy off the line.
Is that the 04 of Maverick Sear out of Quebec out front? We got the 500 of Shane Scott. He's from New Brunswick. So we've got Eastern Canada represented here. We got Scott drifting up the track. Now we got Ethan Perry, I think that is, trying to slip through. He's back there in third. Sean Rupert now coming around the outside of Perry.
Yeah, Scott's been kind of getting used to this track, riding some pretty wild lines. A lot of the other guys are not quite used to that here. A little heated in the pits earlier, but we got Maverick Sear, wow, making a great move on Shane Scott.
Scott answers right back. He did the crossover move, Aaron. Used the top of that banking and then chopped down on the exit of 4. Battle right now for third between Perry and Rupert. And we've got McLennan on the 74 trying to get into the mix as well.
This Maverick Sear is one heck of a talented rider. He just started racing there last year, and he is progressing so quickly, so fast. And he's certainly one to look out for in the future here in the bigger ranks.
Well, if bloodlines mean anything, of course, Maverick's father, JF's here, former pro superbike rider here in Canada, so it probably doesn't hurt having somebody like that in your corner.
No, it certainly doesn't, and definitely a lot of knowledge there, and it translates well. We got a heck of a battle for third between Ethan Perry and who's that going by him?
Sean Rupert. Rupert, and then we got McLennan right there just looking for any kind of mistake by those two riders. Meantime, Sorry, Aaron. Sear has opened up a little bit of a gap on Scott. Of course, Scott is our points leader. Sear in second. This will cut into that lead just a bit, but I think Scott's pretty safe right now.
Sean Rupert is putting on quite the performance here today. He's normally one of those cushion track riders, riding up high, wide, and handsome, wide open on the throttle, but he was like that in his heat race here, and had the thing right tossed sideways through the corners, but making it work, and it seemed to be fast, which is not what you would think.
Halfway flags being shown by referee Ward Jeffries. I'd like to point out Kennedy Wakefield on the 47 as well. She was pretty pumped up. I talked to her just before I came across the track. She got 2 hole shots in her heat races. That's a moral victory for her. She was pretty jacked about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's progression throughout the field here. We have Kennedy that just started a couple of years ago in the beginner class, really didn't feel comfortable being on the bike too much, but now I've really seen her put on some great performances this year, and she's definitely one of those cushion track riders, but definitely showing her grace here today.
Yeah, she's pretty pumped, pretty happy, so that's cool to see. Top 3 seem to have sorted themselves out. As a checkered flag falls, we got Sear taking the victory with Scott in second, and then Rupert, he cleared himself in that battle for third. So Sear, as I said, will close that points just a little bit, but Scott's still in a pretty good position. Should probably point out for anybody who doesn't know, Shane Scott, we mentioned he's from New Brunswick. He's actually leaving his truck and all his belongings basically for racing parked at the airport, and he's flying back and forth. That's a pretty dedicated man right there.
Yeah, I mean, this guy knows racing, and it's the greatest way to do it. It's the most efficient way to do it, and it's cool. He's very dedicated to it, and like you said, he just literally shows up for every race. Gets his vehicle to the airport parking, shows up to the racetrack, stops maybe at the car wash on the way back, parks over there for a week again. So.
Well, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to, as Sear passes us carrying the checkered flag, good on you, Mr. Sear. But I don't know if you paid attention to what Scott's been doing throughout the rest of his year, but a couple of weeks ago he set a land speed record on, I know how land speed records work. There's a bunch of different categories, but whatever category it was, he set a land speed record. He did the amateur grands this year in Ohio, and he managed to win his last race of the week in that. So in one of the posts on Facebook, talking about the land speed record, a buddy of his had the coolest line ever, and he said, "Does your bucket list just write itself?" And I think he nailed it, because Mr. Scott is just doing it all.
He certainly is. He's definitely one interesting individual to talk to and to follow on social media for sure.
He told me today he did the last ever race at Carlsbad in California, so how cool is that?
Yeah, this guy is certainly a cool individual, and he's got a private track at his house that a bunch of buddies come to.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks like the Rossi Ranch in his backyard, and it certainly draws a lot of people, and it's something to see for sure.
I don't know if Kim knows it yet, but we're going there. So intermediate DTX coming up, Aaron. DTX, I've mentioned before, it's kind of that class. Most of the riders have graduated out of the novice class. Most of them, maybe not most, there's a bunch of them that aspire to get to the pro ranks. This is that class in between, and often where we see the biggest battles of the night.
I certainly call these guys the pros. These guys know what they're doing, they're racing, they're really trying to become experts. And this is most entertaining class to watch, because you always have wild cards and different guys that are fast all the time. I cannot pick out one individual in this field that's going to win any individual race. The only one I'm going to say that looked super fast here today is that 311 of Adam Jabouri.
Kenny Reedman looks pretty good on that 42 as well.
Yeah, it could be quite the battle here.
And Bentley Thistlethwaite, third hole shot tonight, so he said he's got to get the hole shot to get in front of the 311.
This is going to be one interesting race, I tell you, Todd.
Taya Little up into third already, but here comes Reedman. Reedman down on the inside of turn 3. Going where no man has gone before. Reedman tiptoes through the corner, and just like that, Reedman has the lead. Oh, we got a red flag.
Must have been a jump. I'm not quite sure who it was.
Yeah, we're watching the action. We weren't staring at our referee, but I have not seen anybody go through the bottom of the corners as fast as Reedman did right there. So Thistlethwaite had the hole shot there, so I'm not sure if he's the one that's going to be busted here. So Taya Little had a pretty good start there too. She's been working from the back of the pack in both of her heat races today. So maybe maybe bad news for the rest of the field if she gets a good start.
So they get ready to line everybody back up here. Who's that on the back row? Is
That looks like Dylan Bix. Young lady's got some work to do now. See if Thistleway can get that start again.
Looks like she got a good start from the back row. Kind of rooting for her in this race now that she's at the back.
So coming out of turn 2 for the first time, it's Dedman, Jabori, Reedman, Thistleway.
Jabori throwing it in hard in 3 and 4, taking that lead away from Boyd Dedman, but Reedman sneaks up on the inside on that KBR-built Honda.
Reedman definitely on a good machine. Of course, just about a month ago, he won the last Superbike race of the season.
Yeah, these Superbike racers come out here and definitely seem to have an advantage here on this clay track. It's very up their style for sure.
So Reedman trying to stretch it out on Jabori. I believe that's still Dedman in third, but he's got some company. Taya Little knocking all over the back door for third place. Hesmer.
One heck of a battle. This is going to be the race of the night here for third spot. We got Boyd Dedman on the number 13 and Taya Little on the 11T, and she is not going to give him an inch. She is going to try to sneak up on him and take that race line away from him as soon as she can.
So we talk about how strong this intermediate class is, Aaron. Our rider right now in last place pushing the pack along is Logan Wilson. He was second place, I believe, last weekend in Georgian Downs. Just shows you how much talent there is out there.
Yeah, I mean, the level of competition here is absolutely incredible. You know, like I said, every one of these racers have been in contention for the lead, if not a race win, if not a main event win. So it's a great field. The good thing about the racetracks that we have, part of the National Series, is they all vary so differently. And so not any one rider can shine at any one particular track, and that's what's great about this race series.
Taya Little has made the move up into third place. Sorry to cut you off, Aaron. She's made the move on Dedman, and she's now trying to close the gap on Jabori in front of her.
I think she's going to get it. She is looking super fast. She's very patient looking right now, which means a lot for this racetrack. You have to be very easy on that throttle when you're accelerating up the turns, and here she goes. Buries it deep going into 3 and almost hits Jabori.
I believe the whole top row of that grandstand across from us is cheering for Taya Little. See if they can push her along all the way to the front, but what a fine run by this young lady.
Look at her go. I think she's only 15 years old. She's from Welland, Ontario, and she is one promising looking racer.
Our points leader back in 6th place, and if you had to ask me at the start of the day if I thought Dustin Lambert would be in 6th, I would have said no way, he'll be top 3 for sure. But again, it goes to the talent we have in this class.
Look at Reedman's kind of checking out on this, but I don't know. Taya Little looks so fast right now. She could be reeling him back in. Reedman dips his head behind his shoulder. We only got 1 lap to go. I don't know if she can do it, but let's see what she's got.
Dylan Bix all over the back of Jarrett Phibbs there. Remember, she had to start in row 4 all by herself. So she's trying to make the best damage control, I guess we would call that. So coming out of turn 4 for the final time, we got Taya Little way up on the top. She's going to take a run, but come up just short.
Wow, what a race by Taya Little. Coming up in that 2nd place position, but a big win for Kenny Reedman. I talked to his dad there a little bit earlier today, actually right before the main events here, and looks like they might be trying their hand at flat track full time next year. So it looks like we might have another face of the field for the whole season next year.
Well, that may be bad news for some of these other riders. I think after a run like that and with the talent like that, I think if he joins us full time next year, you expect to see him in that expert class.
Well, Well, once a talented racer, always a talented racer. And if he can certainly be at the top of the superbike field, he can certainly be at the top of the expert field out here in the pro class. So we have our top 3 racers coming to the victory lane.
You do have a bunch of experts that are going to disagree with you on that fact and say, no, he will not be at the top of the charts here in our expert class. We got expert DTX just lining up. I think we're just going to get a TV shot on our top 3. So good for Taya Little. Fantastic run, and Reedman and Jabori. So basically that whole podium, Aaron, is a brand new podium in our national series, if I'm correct.
Yeah, these are all new racers. Basically come out here one shot in the nationals, and I don't think Jabori ever came out here and podium in the nationals yet, but he's been certainly performing on the clay tracks at Welland.
So expert DTX on the line. If the number 1 machine gets the whole shot here, the rest of the field is in trouble. Somebody has got to beat Dustin Brown to that first corner.
I don't know who's it going to be. We got a lot of top young racers. That number 46 of Sean Hoy has been on fire here today. Sean's another one of those racers that certainly can be all over the place.
So Brown did not win the race to the corner 1. That was Tyler Seguin. Clayton Isherwood was right there in tow, but Brown has already muscled his way into second. Now he's going to look to hunt down our leader. Got Pouliot now side by side with Isherwood. Somebody coming up along on the inside. Is that Ram?
Yeah, I think Ram's coming, sliding up into that 3rd place position, but he couldn't make it stick. Him and Clayton Isherwood are now having a battle. Looks like a 3-way battle for 3rd between Pouliot on the 16, Isherwood on the 39, and Luke Ram on that 25 machine.
Hunter Bauer back there in about 6, I believe. We're going to look for him to start moving forward. Right now, Tyler Seguin, we're seeing him use the top of that track. We got Dustin Brown way down on the bottom. That back end stepped out just a little bit. So Brown, I don't know if he was watching Kenny Reedman earlier on, tiptoe through the bottom of the track, and it looks like Brown is trying the same thing right now.
Yeah, Brown is chasing him down on the gas. He has that thing sideways throughout these corners when everybody's been wheels in line, but they are definitely on the gas hard and trying to make this bike work and hook up. But Tyler Seguin seems to be on cruise control. Brown coming up hard on him and going into the corners. He is one aggressive rider.
So Brown edges a little closer to Seguin. Pouliot free and clear in 3rd place. Ram now under fire from Hunter Bauer.
Oh, Dustin Brown hitting that hole going into 3 and 4, but couldn't make that move on Tyler. Looks like he is gonna try something here coming out of turn 2. Still can't make it work, but buries it hard into the corners. Wow, look at him go.
Seguin's gonna have to do the crossover move here, but Brown looks like he's got it out front.
This looks exactly like the battle last year between Doug Lawrence and Dustin Brown, and now we have Tyler Seguin and Dustin Brown going back and forth. This track always has a great show with the battle of the leaders here.
Hunter Bauer now clear of Luke Ram. Pushes Ram back to 5th position. Isherwood in 6th, I believe. Then it's Marin Tet, followed by McCullough. Brown now got about 10 bike lengths between him and Seguin. Seguin with about an equal distance on Pouliot. Not sure how many laps we have left, Aaron, but the man on the move right now would be the 24 of Bauer. There's a chance, small chance, he could chase down Pouliot.
I was talking to a few team owners here today, and it doesn't seem like anybody has a hot setup. Everybody's kind of confused on how they should set up their bikes here, and everybody's kind of trying something different, and it's kind of working for one but not the other, and it's kind of why I think the field's spread out a little bit here.
Bauer gets a little bit closer to Pouliot. I see we're getting some flags ready here. As a race fan here, I'm wondering if he's going to show 2 to go and if Bauer's still got a chance. Look, he's within about 6 bike lengths.
Position counts and every point counts in this series, and you certainly guys have a lot on the line. We got the 2 laps to go. That's what those 2 flags are shown for. They'll be coming around for the white flag here shortly.
So Brown is all alone out front. Then it's Seguin. Pouliot holding on to third, but he's got company. Bauer now within 3 bike lengths as they exit turn 4. One more lap for Bauer to get it done.
Dustin Brown coming around for his last lap, gets by the lap rider. And coming in through 3 and 4, the real race is right here, is between the 24 and the 16. Hunter Bauer making that move on the outside, or the inside of 4, taking that away from Pouliot, taking that third place finish.
So Bauer gets it done. Just cranked that bike hard left in that last set of corners. So KBR Racing finishing first and third. You got Tyler Seguin as the meat in the middle of that sandwich. Seguin, our early leader, unable to hold off Mr. Brown. But yeah, Hunter Bauer with a great ride from further back in the pack to take that third position.
Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for that national champion, Dustin Brown, all the way from Bracebridge, Ontario. So we got our racers here just pulling up in front of the victory lane podium. We're just going to get a quick shot. Going to do some TSN interviews here. So Todd, we got a quick shot there for TSN coverage that we're doing. Be sure to check it out. We got our schedule on our Flat Track Canada website and the Flat Track Canada social media pages. It's been great coverage. It's post-production coverage that's turned into a half-an-hour show for all the pro classes that we've been seeing all summer long here.
Yeah, they've been doing a good job, and of course, going live on Fans Choice. I've heard all kinds of positive feedback by the Fans Choice fans that have been watching. Great job by Hills Productions. They make us look good. They make us sound good. 85cc final on the line, and perhaps again bad news for the rest of the field with that number 8, Liam Caskey gets the whole shot. Here comes Parsons though. Parsons pushing hard on that number 6, and then the number 68 machine. I talked to him earlier. They're out of Michigan, just a little bit outside of Port Huron. That's Carson Green, and pretty cool to see a Husky 85 out here, Aaron.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Husky and KTM have really been ramping up their production of sales for motocross and trails, and now they're trying to enter the flat track market. You'll see quite a few younger kids jumping on the KTMs and now Husqvarna, so certainly cool to see that out there. Seems like Honda's number 1 in the field for Hondas for flat track racing, but a lot of other brands out there are definitely just as competitive, if not faster in some regards. So,
watching young Liam Caskey come down the straightaway here, he could not be tucked anymore on that Honda 150. He's right down on that tank and head trying to get below the bars there. I talked to Carson Green. We were talking about any other Husky 85s we've seen, and they brought up Chase Sadoff. And of course, Chase Sadoff used to come and do a whole bunch of our races. They're out of Illinois. I've been watching him via social media and via live streams, and that boy's just killing it down in the States. And I think a few years from now, we're going to be watching him in the AFT ranks.
Yeah, certainly like a lot of young racers from the U.S. come up and compete in Canada. Seems like there's a lot of, it's the perfect training grounds for some of the young, fast pro riders to be in. So they definitely, we see them early on in their career, and then they become top AFT pros, and it's cool to see them in that position after they spent their whole childhood career here in Canada.
Yeah, for sure. One lap to go for our leader, Liam Caskey. I guess another quick name to point out is Dallas Daniels. He made a few appearances here in Canada, and as a rookie, he's already won his first AFT race. So good on him, and I guess good on you, Mr. Hesmer, for getting them here. But as we talk, we're going to say congratulations to Liam Caskey from just down the road in Brantford, taking the victory. We got Parsons in second, and Carson Green out of Michigan is going to grab third.
Yeah, this kid is certainly on fire, super talented. He gets on the bike and is focused, and he definitely knows what he's doing, what he's thinking, and knows what the bike needs and what it deserves. So this kid is dedicated and certainly one to watch out for in the future. He's got a bit of the BD blood in him as well, which doesn't hurt. He's got a bit of Viking blood, so watch out for this kid. Give this kid a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. He's your hometown hero from Brantford, Ontario. Give it up for Liam Caskey.
Yeah, KBR Racing, of course, has already sunk his claws into him. So that's a good thing for Lee, perhaps a good thing for KBR down the road. Maybe not a bad to mention some of our series sponsors like Parts Canada. They've been with us, I think, since day one. They got some pretty awesome brands that they can help you out with. We've got, well, you were going to jump in there. Go ahead.
Parts Canada is the presenting sponsor of the series, and they've always supported Canadian flat track out in a big way. So certainly hats off to them. They have their co-branding sponsors as well, which is the Alpine Stars, which is all your safety gear, HJC helmets.
Thor.
We have Thor, which is the motocross gear and boots and supplies. Everything from gear bags, goggles, and gloves to all your performance gear as well. So they're certainly a big supporter of our sport. We encourage the racers to support them. Alpine Stars makes this new safety vest, which is unbelievable. It recognizes when you come off the bike, and it inflates. And so basically it's like an airbag around your body for when you hit the ground, and it's revolutionary in this type of world for motorcycle racing.
Yeah, good on them for coming up with something like that. And again, thank you very much to Parts Canada. They've been with us. I've talked to Laura numerous times throughout the season, both at road racing events and our events, and thank her every time for being involved. And we'll talk about some more sponsors shortly, but just as we're about to get going with our open novice race here, we got McClellan on the 74 and Scott on the 500. They were the only ones to leave the line there, so I'm going to guess you would officially call that a jump start?
I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if the light glitched out or if they legitimately had a false start. It looks like they might have had an issue there. It kind of happens once in a blue moon. But,
Kennedy Wigfield, I want to see her get another hole shot here. Not going to happen, though. It looks like it's Perry. Perry and Scott are going to go side by side, and Perry's going to come out of turn 2 first.
Oh, Perry is on the gas hard, having that bike go a little bit western on him coming out of the corner there.
Maverick Sear back there in 4th, but I don't think he's going to be happy staying there long. And as I say that, he makes the move on Sean Rupert for 3rd, sets his sights on Shane Scott ahead of him.
Sear in that 3rd position, looking to deep down and take that 2nd place spot away from Shane Scott. Looks like he makes it stick, and he looks like he's going to move. Oh, wow, what a move for 1st.
Little bit of a crossover there. Perry looks to answer on the exit. Perry's going to hold on to it for now into 1, but I suspect Sear's going to dive to the bottom on the exit of 2 here.
These guys are riding very aggressively up here, crossing a lot of lines, which is a little bit dicey at times, but makes for some exciting racing, that's for sure.
That's just how the racing goes here at Ohsweken Speedway. That's why I'm a fan.
The Big O certainly has a lot of lines, that's for sure. There is. They can use up that racetrack from top to bottom, and that's what makes this track exciting for sure.
So running order is Sear, Perry, Scott. Scott now under fire from Rupert. Rupert and Scott side by side. Then it's McLennan and then Wakefield pushing the pack along.
Wow, Scott making that move up top. I'm not sure, like it could work for him or against him at this point.
You can see Perry. Perry twice looked over his shoulder there, and that's almost a look of doom, I think, in the racing world. If you look over your shoulder, that's a sign of weakness in my books, Aaron.
Yes, sir. You do not want to look back. It's a sign of not too confidence, right? So definitely, that's the #1 rule racing.
Rupert. Rupert bounced off the wall there. I don't know if you caught that, Aaron. Pushing hard on the exit of 2, and he bounced the front wheel off the wall. Had those bars shake a bit, but he keeps it upright.
These kids are racing hard. Wow. Look at Rupert just diving it into the corner past Ethan Perry, but Ethan Perry trying to stay on that group, but can't keep it. Rupert takes that line away from him.
Rupert once again way up by that wall. Rupert's got his sights on Shane Scott in front of him now, but he's got a little bit of real estate to close up before he can make that deal.
It's okay to flirt with the wall here, but they are made of concrete, so you don't want to be too close to them on the straightaways here.
Rupert is definitely getting closer than most of the other riders. Just, I guess, line choice on the exit of 2.
And Sears really controlling this race lead, and he's only got 2 laps to go, so he could be taking a double win away here today, and that's certainly a big achievement for him here tonight.
So Sear, Scott, Rupert looking to close a little bit. Scott, our points leader, going to score some pretty valuable points here. Now Scott is actually closing a bit on Sear.
Oh, it looks like he's hungry for that race win. He is diving it hard into 1 and 2. Looks like he's going to make it try to happen for turn 3, going in hard. It seems like that high line just does not want to work, but he might have something from here. Oh, and Sear holds him off.
So Maverick Sear making the drive from Quebec worthwhile. Goes 2 for 2 in our novice class here. Good on him. Scott does some pretty good damage control as far as points go there, getting second. And Rupert rebounds from a not so great heat race, I guess you would say, to grab third. Ethan Perry and McClellan giving each other a little bit of a high five there. Perry was in the mix there, and I mentioned it. He did that little look behind, and I always thought when you're doing that look behind, that means you know you're in trouble, and you don't want that guy behind you to know that. So Mr. Sears getting pretty used to carrying these flags around. He looked very good in Cornwall as well.
Yeah, he's getting quite comfortable with these clay tracks, and like you said earlier, if you're from Quebec, you typically like a cushion track, but he's an exception here, and he's definitely shown that he's a diverse rider, and that's definitely the pedigree of a true champion down the road.
So let's take another chance to mention a few more of our sponsors. I'm thinking of Harley-Davidson Canada. They've been with us for a couple of years now, and a lot of our events, they've been having those demo rides, which is pretty cool. If you got a bike license and riding gear, I think they've got 16 different Softails you can hop onto, and you can go as many times as you want, right? It's not you can just show up once and do it once. If you want to get back in line, you can keep going as far as I know.
Yeah, you can try all the different models out. They have a great program. It's a great way to get on a Harley if you've never been on one before, and it's changed a lot of minds that people that weren't quite into Harleys before, and you'd be surprised how cool they are to ride and how much fun you can have on one. And it's certainly a great way to clear your mind and have a great time for sure.
I mentioned earlier how Honda seems to be the bike of choice for a lot of these guys. Of course, Honda Canada is involved in your series, and in fact, I believe they supply the bikes for the Go Flat Track School.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that was one of our breakthrough sponsors for the series and Go Flat Track. And Go Flat Track is the flat track schools that we put on all over Canada. And basically what we do is we provide a motorcycle, bike, gear, equipment, and everything for $300. And it's a great day of racing for anybody to do it.
We'll get back on that once this race is over, but right now we've got Adrian St. Amand on that 250 just gobbling up Liam Caskey on the entrance to 3. We got Caskey down at the bottom, riding on rails, St. Amand up top. So Caskey a little bit down on power here, 100 cc's as a matter of fact.
This is going to be one interesting race. There's a little bit of a rivalry between these two at the moment. They both seem to be the fastest young up-and-coming kids at the moment. Adrian's on that 250 Suzuki, and it's working really well. Liam's on that super fast 150 and giving it everything he has, and they're side by side, head to head right here now.
Yeah, Caskey, as we said, giving up 100 cc's, but having a pretty good ride. And we know he's got fans here today. We got Parsons back there in third. Then it's Carson Green, followed by Seth Little. But St. Amand, some pretty good head shake earlier on from that bike in his heat races, but I don't know if they sorted something out or if it's just track conditions, but looking a little smoother now. So St. Amand continuing to lead. Kasky there in second, but we've got Parsons closing in on him. Can Parsons make that pass for second? Just about a lap and a half to go, I believe. St. Amand with a healthy gap out front, but that battle for second place with 1 lap to go, I'm not sure if it's over or not, Aaron.
I don't know. It looks like the real race now is Seth Parsons trying to make a move on Liam Kasky. Pardon me. It's Shane Parsons. I always get them two mixed up, and it's always my fault. But Shane coming out strong and just didn't have enough for him there.
So Kasky holds off Parsons at the line. Good run by both those young riders. And St. Amand, another one of those guys that at Cornwall, that kid was on rails. And in fact, my partner at the time, Doug Lawrence, had the stopwatch out. Adrian St. Amand on that 250 was turning faster lap times in the intermediates were at Cornwall. And it's funny, I talked to Adrian afterwards. He wasn't even sure if he liked the track, but he was just on rails there, obviously.
Yeah, these kids, they get their mindset, and they're so focused, they're in the zone, right? So these kids certainly deserve it. So give these guys a big round of applause.
So we've talked about Parts Canada, we've talked about Harley-Davidson Canada, we've talked about Honda Canada. I guess we should mention Yamaha Canada. They're involved as well with your series. And as well as being involved with your series, they have that Blue Crew Award, and they actually gave a bike to Jacob Rainville this year as the highest finishing novice on a Yamaha last year. Unfortunately, Jacob got injured and hasn't been at our last few rounds, but pretty cool for Yamaha to step up and present somebody with like a bike like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best award that we have going in Flat Track Canada competition. I mean, if you do well and you perform well on a Honda that's an upcoming racer in the novice class, they give you a motorcycle. I mean, that's absolutely amazing, and it speaks volumes. And it's so amazing that Yamaha Canada has stepped up and done that for some of these young racers. So
then I guess we should mention Sturgis Cycle. They're not too far away from us here, and I say it every time. How crazy is it that they've been selling motorcycles since 1910? It's crazy to think of any business being around since 1910. To think that they've been selling motorcycles since 1910 is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing when you can be around for 20 years in business, let alone 100 plus years.
Going to be 120 soon.
Yeah, which is absolutely amazing. Jamie Conrad is the owner of Sturgis Cycle at the moment, and he's one of the raddest dudes. If you want a guy that you want to buy a motorcycle from, he's certainly one to do it. And
he hasn't been there 110 years, has he?
No, but man, what a great guy. What a great team he's got. Certainly has been a major supporter of all motorcycle racing. Been involved with Flat Track. He was actually one of my personal sponsors growing up racing when I was racing myself. So these guys know what it takes. The grassroots, no racing, no motorcycles, know the business. So
for sure, and we're glad that they're with us. And as we speak, we see our vet class getting lined up for the final, and a couple names to watch out here. Of course, John Kehoe, Canadian Motorcycle Hall of Famer. Keep an eye on him. He's our points leader, and I believe the champion at least the last 2 years in this class. Brent Thompson, you can't count him out on the 233. He's out for a good time, not a long time, but he knows how to run out at the front as well. And Dan Doreen on the 94, he's been on kind of a roll since Cornwall, I think, and I'm expecting him to do well here.
Yeah, Dan Doreen is like fire. Oh, and he smokes the tire off the starter.
And we jixed him there, I think, and Bentley Thistlewake gets another hole shot. I apologize, Dan Doreen. I talked about you, and you went nowhere. My buddy Brent Thompson up there into second.
Brent Thompson loves just getting out there and having fun, and he's certainly showing the boys how to do it, and I think he has a chance to make this race win.
Grick Gumby down on the bottom, and is that Kim Ellison-Oros there in third place on that number 15? It is.
You want to talk about progression. This was a girl only a couple years ago that started in the beginner class, just tooling around, slow pace at the back of the pack. And here she is dicing it out with veterans. And I mean, these guys are past Canadian champions, a lot of them out here.
Well, there's a Hall of Famer we mentioned. And we got Thompson. Thompson with his head down, trying to chase down Thistlethwaite. And Thompson not shy to tell anyone he is on a bone stock older Honda. I'm not sure if Thistlethwaite has had any kind of massaging done to that motor, but it is a brand new Kawasaki. I'm going to guess he's got a couple more ponies in that bike behind him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Chris Evans machine on that 15 of Auras. It certainly helps, but you know, on this track here tonight, maybe the hot ticket is a stock bike. You never know. This track doesn't mean horsepower is what's going to help you win or propel you to the front of the pack. It means about tractable power.
So Thistlethwaite now with about 10 bike lengths between him and Thompson. Thompson safely ahead of Rick Gunby, another one of those guys who's been around this sport for, God, probably, for lack of a better number to guess at, I would say 30, 40 years easily. Former expert, of course, and Gumby has been doing this for a long, long time.
He's certainly impressive to be on. Like, if you meet this guy in public, you would say, there's no way this guy still races motorcycles, but he comes out here and he spanks these guys. He is certainly a talented racer and one with a lot of experience.
Gumby just shot out of a cannon there on the exit of 4. He got by Allison Oros and went after Thompson, just came up a little bit short, I think, but wow, what a last lap by Gunby. We had Doreen and Scott having a heck of a battle there as that race came to an end as well. So Bentley Thistlethwaite, I believe this may be his first checkered flag of the season, Aaron. I apologize, Bentley, if it isn't, but I think it is, and good run, young man. So Mr. Thistlethwaite on the 391 taking the victory. Good for you. Just picked up that Kawasaki. He had a buddy, I'm not even sure if you're aware, last week come out, Aaron. He's still got that old Suzuki he used to run. And his buddy came out and ran the beginner and the novice class last week. His name is Luke Nicholson. And he's a motocross racer. I kind of talked to him a little bit when he came in. And let me tell you, he went out there. I know he had an absolute blast. And he looked pretty good. He did not look like a guy who was his first time doing ovals.
Definitely a well-deserved win by Bentley Thistlethwaite. We've been motoring through this race program, and it looks like we only have a couple races left here. What do we got next here, Todd? Looks like Intermediate Open.
Yeah, we should have Intermediate Open and then our Expert Open race. And yeah, the night is just flying. I don't want to say anything to jinx it because, yeah, we don't want that, but decent looking crowd across from us too there.
You guys having a good night or what?
I am.
That's great.
Everybody in front of us here said yes.
We're up in the tower here on the... north side of the track? I don't even know.
North side from them, I guess. Thanks to Clinton for getting rid of a whole bunch of our flies because it was insane in here earlier.
Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing facility that they have here at the Big O in Ohsweken, Ontario, which is kind of just tucked below Hamilton, Ontario. Beautiful sprint car track that they've had. Many great racers from Tony Stewart to... I can't even put on all the names here. Go ahead, Leanne. Go ahead, Leanne.
So Intermediate Open coming to the line. I believe that's Adam Jabori is going to lead them out. Finished third in our DTX race. Of course, Kenny Reedman won that, but There's a rider to watch right there, I think. Taya Little. Taya Little is having the best night of racing I have seen her have this year for sure. Confidence is obviously at a very high level tonight. Jarrett Phibbs on the 90 machine. I'm expecting something from him in this one. Poor Bentley Thistlethwaite just got off the bike and he probably went in for a quick drink of water and he's right back out here. Hopefully got a splash of fuel as well. So I think we're waiting for Kenny Reedman on that 42 machine because he probably gets first gate pick. As I say that, here he comes. All these other riders think they know where they want to go, but they can't go anywhere until Mr. Reedman grabs his starting position. He's going to go up top, and I guess the idea there, Aaron, is if everybody gets bottleneck down at the bottom, he's going to ride around everybody up top. So Jaburi gets second pick. He's going to slide in beside Reedman. Here comes Lambert. Lambert, of course, our points leader, a healthy points lead, actually. Taya Little in the front row, and I would keep my eyes on her, I think. Do not let her get in front of you tonight because she's looking pretty good. Just had her first intermediate podium and looking for another one, no doubt. Rod Scott and Bentley Thistlethwaite are going to round out that front row.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up Reedman's starting position. I'm not quite sure what I would be picking here on this start, but I'm not sure if I agree with Reedman on this start because if you get stuck on that outside, it's not like you can use the track and cut down and make a run off the corner. When you got all those guys underneath of you, it could be nothing but spell trouble for you. So it's I'm not sure if this is going to work out hot for him.
I don't know if he cares, Aaron. I don't know if you saw his heat race. His heat race, he was about fourth going into quarter 3, and he was in the lead. Lickety split. So
it'll be interesting to see if he can pull off a win here as well. Oh, looks like there's a false start on this one as well.
yeah, we got a jump start. I didn't catch who it was, but given the fact that hopefully for her sake it wasn't Taya Little. Oh, don't hit the brakes too hard, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, we're going to see somebody. We're going to catch a replay here, Aaron.
Yeah, we got the replay. Oh, it looks like Bentley has been timing his lights.
Oh, yeah. That's might be the 391. 391, I believe, is going to be back in row 4 all by himself.
It was pretty close there. He probably did inch before that green light, but it was pretty close. It's interesting to have the light and the replay on the screen there in front of us.
And of course, Bentley had just done a race, did a checkered flag lap. He's a little tired. He's looking for any advantage he can get right now in this one, and that might have just cost him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's going to cost him big time there, but yeah, certainly this guy has great starts, and you want to take advantage of those as much as you can, right?
So the good news is he can go anywhere he wants on row 4.
That's good. When you're out there alone.
Yeah. Everybody hurts.
Are you singing melody for me, Todd?
I was, yes. Serenade. Got Craig Hunt and Alex Olson doing a little bit of a switch around here. I'm not sure what happened there.
Craig Hunt's a local of Shannonville track, and he's been riding there every week, and it certainly has been helping him out big time.
Taya Little's going to lead him into turn 1.
Taya Little with that big race lead. She is super fast tonight. And
oh, look at how close Dedman and Jabari were there. Jabari looking to go around the outside. Oh, Jabari almost comes off the bike.
Wow, what a race here.
Reedman up to 4th. Jabari now into 2nd as he passes Lambert. Taya Little, the one to watch right now.
With Little out front, this is dangerous for the rest of the field. She was super fast towards the end of the race. Looked like she had the steam to run on for the whole deal.
Oh, Jabari almost more contact. That guy is a magnet for other bikes. Reedman now up to third. He's got past Lambert. So our top three trying to check out. But more importantly, can second and third catch first place?
They are on fire here tonight, those top three. Taya Little on the Suzuki, Jabori on the Kawasaki, and Reedman on the Honda. So we got three different brands, and this is where I say it's so competitive between the riders, the motorcycles, everything.
Taya Little is checking out, Aaron. Taya Little has opened up about a 15 bike length gap here on second and third, and Reedman is not moving forward like I thought he would. Taya Little just riding that wave right now, I think.
That's why I said to you earlier, Todd, these boys are in trouble, I think. I think Taya Little is just going to get this bike with the tires heated up and check out.
Yeah, Jabori and Reedman back there, they're pushing hard, and they are not gaining any ground at all on our leader.
No, she certainly has the right line there where she can get the drive off the corners. Coming up high, sweeping the track, and shooting out down low. And it's definitely the fast line here. I think Reedman's caught on to that, and he's going to get Jabori right here because of it.
Yeah, Reedman definitely making a move. Is there any time left for him to hunt down the leader?
It could be. He's got...
Well, Jabori's not giving up.
Wow, what a move.
Jabori gets by again. Reedman was sideways as he passed us here.
These guys are going handlebar to handlebar. They had contact about 3 or 4 times on the track here. They are riding hard like it's the next World Championship. And that's the good thing about these, Canadian nationals.
And the thing to point out right now, Taya Little up there in the lead. She's unaware of the battle happening behind her, but I guarantee you she loves what's happening behind her.
We got a bit of a race there for 4th place as well between Boyd Edmond and Roderick Scott. A lot of action back there, going handlebar to handlebar as well, lap after lap.
Taya Little, I do not want to jinx her, but she has got over half a straightaway lead on 2nd place, and there can't be that many laps left.
We're about 2/3 of the way, I think, through this race here. I think I see the 2-lap flag coming out here now. So Taya Little looks like she's in a good position to take a race win. This will be a big win for her.
So lap and a half to go for our leader, Taya Little. Reedman safely in 2nd, Jabori in 3rd. Still that battle wages on for 4th between Dedman and Scott. Dylan Bix trying to get into that mix as well. Our points leader, we got Kenny Reedman is down.
Rider down, and we got looks like the red flag.
Red flag comes out. We had just over a lap to go. What do we do at this point? So we'll try and get a ruling on what we're going to do here. I did not see Reedman go down. I'll try and wait for the replay. But we were just coming up to the last lap. Guess there's a chance we call this one complete. I know Taya Little wants them to call this one complete, but whether we go to a restart or not, I'm not sure if anybody has anything for her. A little bit of a huddle going on between our officials there. If we go to a restart, I would guess at that point it would be a 2-lap shootout. Green, white, checkered. Reedman, who laid that bike down, of course, would be at the back of the pack. We would be single file. Would give Jabori another shot at our leader. Jabori now going. Just some discussion going on the radio about what we're going to do. Aaron Hesmer coming over to talk to Ward Jeffries, try and get the ruling on this. We just had a replay on our screen, but I missed it. I was watching the discussions down on the start-finish line. know Taya Little and the Taya Little fan club up there in the back row.
What do you guys want to do?
Back row of the grandstand are looking for this to be called a race. I think a bunch of these other races are looking for a restart. Looks like we're going to call that one a race. You can hear the fan club go crazy. Taya Little takes her first ever intermediate victory. So Kenny Reedman, just watching the replay, just had that back end come around. He's about mid-corner up in that lighter dirt. Taya Little taking her father for a victory lap. Former expert racer Paul Little. So good on Taya Little. She's been looking good here all night. I said it before the race started. If she got the whole shot, I thought these guys were in trouble. So the podium was set up to be the same three riders, just changed it up a little bit. And then Reedman ended up laying that down. Can't ever remember who that promotes to third now.
Big round of applause for your winner, Taya Little. Beautiful job, Taya. You're only 15 years old and you beat all the boys here tonight in the pro class. Tough competition, and you put on one heck of a race here for them.
Yeah, I tried to.
You're always super shy in front of the mic, but you definitely know how to ride. You went handlebar to handlebar with Jabori there for the early lead, but I think you had a great start and you held down the lead the whole race on your own. What do you have to say for everybody that showed here tonight?
I want to say thank you to everybody supporting me and all my sponsors.
Right on. Well, there you have it. Big round of applause for Taya Little.
So good job by Taya Little. You can hear the fan club going crazy. Aaron, if you got a second reminder, when she says all my sponsors, she's supposed to name the sponsors. The sponsors really like that.
She's got to practice a few more wins there, Todd.
Who did that bring up to third? Did Rod Scott get third?
I'll check and find out here for you, Todd.
We were watching our lead rider there. I know Jabori got second, so a good night for him.
Yeah, it was Roderick Straw that managed to take home that third place position. Unfortunately, Reedman there that went down between 3 and 4 right before the white flag there. So we got our open expert race here tonight. The racers are going to walk out here. We're going to introduce them one by one. And they were going to put on one heck of a race here for you here tonight. Yeah, Todd, that was certainly an interesting turn of events in that main event there. We had Reedman, that was the race winner that came out on top in the DTX main event, actually falling down in that third place position. So, like I said, it's always interesting. You never know who's going to win that class.
No, it's one of my favorite to watch, and I'm going to let you take over, Aaron. It looks like we got our experts coming down. I want to do some introductions. And then it'll be race time.
So we normally line these guys up in the order that they qualified. Just so we can get everything organized here for you. What do you guys think of tonight's racing so far? Yeah, the track here is certainly exciting to watch. Like I said, all the different race lines, it's been definitely exciting for us to see. Alrighty, as we're getting everybody organized down here, this guy's here focused. Our number one qualifier for here tonight is racing the number 19 machine, all the way from Welland, Ontario. He is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. Last week he had an amazing performance at Georgian Downs. He could be your race winner here tonight. He hasn't been on fire like this for a few years. He's sponsored by Royal Distributing. Give a big round of applause for the number 19, Brandon Seguin. Our number one racer is only 17 years old from Bracebridge, Ontario. He's racing the KBR-sponsored Honda Canada machine. It's the CRF 450 in that frame. Give a big round of applause for Dustin Brown. Our next racer is on the number 22 Evans Racing Parts Canada machine. He's been a number one contender here and won it, I think, a couple times at the Big O. Give a big round of applause for Tyler Seguin. Our last week's winner, 56 years old, with the man with experience, sponsored by Evans Racing. Give a big round of applause for the crowd favorite, Chris Evans. Our next racer is only 15 years old, all the way from Niagara Falls, Ontario. He's sponsored by KBR Racing, Honda Canada on that CRF 450 framer. Give a big round of applause for Showtime Hunter Bauer. Our next racer is sponsored by SPH Motorsports out of Tilbury, Ontario. Give a big round of applause for Luke Ram. Our next racer is all the way from Quebec City, Quebec. He's sponsored by JPR Racing, Kawasaki Canada, Magic Screed, and a number of other sponsors. Give a big round of applause for the number 16, Dave Pouliot. Our next racer comes all the way from Paris, Ontario, just down the road, ladies and gentlemen. He's on that YZF 450 Yamaha Canada sponsored machine, Sail Racing. Give a big round of applause for the number 9, Jimmy the Jet McCullough. Our next racer is from Welland, Ontario on the number 39 machine, sponsored by Performance ATV. Give a big round of applause for Clayton Isherwood. Our next racer is from Ancaster, Ontario on the number 111 machine. Give a big round of applause for Maddie Ward. Our next racer is on the Apex Racing KTM all the way from Kitchener, Ontario. Give a big round of applause for Sean Hoy. Our next racer is on the 112 machine all the way from Tilbury, Ontario and Dukes Harley Davidson. Give a big round of applause for Cody Marentet. And our next racer is from Medina, New York. Give a big round of applause for the number 61B, Brandon Newman. So pick a favorite. Who's it going to be, ladies and gentlemen? Is it going to be Jimmy the Jet? Or is it going to be the Seguin boys? Gentlemen, start your engines.
So as we get ready to roll on our Open Expert Final here, how cool is it to see Brandon Seguin get first gate pick here? Kid was on fire last week in Georgian Downs. He's kept that momentum rolling right along here as we show up at Ohsweken Speedway. Again, the hot ticket for most of these riders here is to not let that number 1 at Dustin Brown get that hole shot. And Dustin Brown is indeed a master of the hole shot. Kid could ride the wheels off any bike out there at the best of times, but if you left him get out front right off the start, you're in a whole bunch of hurt right off the start. Majority of our field choosing to go with the DTX based machine. We do have Hunter Bauer and Dustin Brown using that framer supplied by KBR. I believe Jimmy McCullough also going to be on a framer machine. Of course, framer being a purpose-built flat track machine. I think the rest of our field will be on the DTX based machine. Of course, that's a motocross bike. It's been lowered. It had 19-inch wheels put on it. Front brake removed. Dave Pouliot waving at one of the officials. So Luke Ram up on the outside of row 1 there. You're looking for Ram to use the outside top part of that track anyway, so. Ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. For green, Dustin Brown gets a good start, but he's not going to win that race. Looks like we got Seguin, and I'll try and catch a number. Brandon Seguin and Tyler Seguin. So Brandon had a great start. Brandon, your early leader. Tyler back there in third. Dustin Brown slides into the middle. Tyler looking to answer back. Take over second. So Brandon Seguin with a great start. Looking to check out on these hungry riders behind him. Pouliot there in a fist fight with Chris Evans for that 4th position. Seguin and Brown going at it tooth and nail for second. Brandon still all alone out front. Luke Ram up there in 6th. Oh, Ram almost goes down, chasing both wheels on that bike. Wow, what an amazing job by Ram to keep that bike upright, but that allows Hunter Bauer to pull up alongside. So Dustin Brown, your reigning champion right now, made his way ahead of Tyler Seguin, set off in sail now in hopes to catch Brandon Seguin. Oh, Brown gathers up about 3 bike lengths on the way into turn 1. Bauer now pulls up alongside of Evans. Bauer looking to make his way around Evans in turns 3 and 4. Oh, we got a bike going silent. Is that the 111 of Matty Ward? Pulling off the track here in turn 3. Oh, Brown is closer to Seguin. Seguin down at the bottom. Brown using that high line. He's going to get a run off the banking. Look at the run Brown gets. Holy cow. Brown, your new leader, but Seguin is right there. He's not going anywhere. His younger brother Tyler back there behind him. Brown, I think the man on the move right now. Battle shaping up between Pouliot and Evans. So Brown made his way past Brandon Seguin, but Brandon Seguin is not giving up here. Way down at the bottom of the track now. We got another rider pulling off. Seguin making a move, but Brown answers right back. I believe that's Brandon Newman pulling off the track up there in turn 4. Brandon Seguin having a hell of a run. Oh, Bauer edges even closer to Tyler Seguin. 2 battles on the track right now, 3 battles really. We got a battle for first, a battle for second, a battle for third, and a battle for 5th. Bauer makes his way past the number 22 machine. 22 looking to answer right back on the exit of 4. Running order right now, Dustin Brown, Brandon Seguin, Hunter Bauer, Tyler Seguin, Chris Evans, Dave Pouliot. That changes as I speak as Pouliot gets by. Jimmy McCullough, Cody Marintet, Luke Graham, Clayton Isherwood. Sean Hoy pushing the pack along here on the 46. He's got the number 1 machine coming hot and heavy behind him. Brown now with a little bit of distance between him and that second place rider, and Bauer has got a clear of Tyler Seguin, I believe. 2 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Your leader takes the white flag. Evans and Pouliot still going at it. Evans not giving up. So out of corner 4 for the final time. Doing it once again, Dustin Brown takes the victory. Great run by Brandon Seguin there in second, and Hunter Bauer claws his way through the pack to get a top 3. So I don't know if Aaron's going to go down there and have a couple of interviews with some guys, but Brandon Seguin riding that wave that he started, I guess, in Georgian Downs. Got the whole shot in that race, led probably half, if not more, before Dustin Brown finally made his way by, but Brandon Seguin holds on for second. So good on him. Hunter Bauer, not the greatest start, but he made his way up through the pack to finish third. And Dustin Brown, he's done it a gazillion times, and he does it again. That's why he's got the number 1 on his bike. Takes the victory.
Oh, and he tosses his goggles in the vents. That guy gets to go home with another pair of. Big round of applause for your race winner, Dustin Brown. This kid's 17 years old, your current Canadian national champion, on his way to win his 2nd championship ever, all the way from Bracebridge, Ontario. But we're going to go down to our 3rd place finisher. Give a big round of applause for Hunter Bauer. Hunter, you put on a great race. You took out the points that you needed. You struggled, I think, all night long, but you came out, I think, with the finish you deserve.
Yeah, finally found the tires. Ended up putting them on both bikes and taking the podiums in both classes. Very happy with that.
There you have it. Your third place finisher, Hunter Bauer. We're going to go quickly to our second place finisher, a well-deserved, and this guy deserves a huge round of applause, Brandon Seguin. Brandon, you put on one hell of... it's great to see you out there and out front. You went handlebar to handlebar. You almost proved us all wrong and showed us that this kid beside you can be beat. Brandon, what do you have to say for yourself?
There's nothing more I want to do today than beat Dustin, obviously. To have a good run today, it's been a long time coming, man. I've been struggling really hard lately, the last couple of years, couple injuries and stuff, and it just feels good to be up here. Like, I don't know, I think I've worked really hard for this, and it's finally come.
Well, it certainly looks like you have your confidence back. Are we going to see more of this man here in the future?
Absolutely. We made a big life change, and it showed. I'm happy, man. I love this.
Have anybody to thank here tonight?
I can't thank everybody who's been behind me. It's my continued sponsors, Phil Anderson, Lifetime Exteriors, Royal Distributing, and Fast House jumping aboard this year. They really helped me out huge with a lot of stuff. And Flat Track Canada for putting on a great event. This track was a little treacherous in practice. My setup was way off, and we made a huge change, and it paid off for sure.
Yeah, track was great tonight. Big round of applause for Brandon Seguin. And your race winner, and still your points leader, give a big round of applause for Dustin Brown. Dustin, you had bad luck last weekend. You ran out of fuel. You had a big points gap, but that got all tightened up. Now you came out with a win. Does that feel better after last weekend?
Yeah, for sure. We were going to go undefeated all day if we didn't run out of gas and was able to hang on to that win. But definitely feels good to win here again today, and we're back on top where we should be.
Right on. You certainly look like you're dominant week after week. You ride hard, but you have a few guys that are starting to look on your tail and go handlebar to handlebar. A little bit unexpected from Brandon Seguin, but he is hard and hungry for you lately. Do you think you have what it takes to hold off the next 2 rounds for your championship?
Yeah, I do, and huge congrats to Brandon. That's a huge step up for him. I'm proud of him. He rode great, gave me one hell of a battle, so good for you, Brandon.
Right on. There you have it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out tonight. We hope to see you again the next 2 weekends. We're going to be at Wheatley at the Erie Ramblers Race Club. We will also be at Sarnia for our season finale at Hiawatha Downs. That is one big horse track that you will unbelievable excitement at over 100 miles an hour there at that racetrack. So we hope to see you there. The next 2 weekends we are racing. So thank you for coming out tonight, and we hope to have a safe drive home. Thank you.